Basics of computing. Computer is an electronic device that can perform a variety of operations in accordance with set of instructions called program. It processes the input data given by the programmer and provides the desired information as the output. One of the main component of the computer is CPU. CPU is the central processing unit and the main component or the brain of the computer, which performs all the processing of input data. Its function is to fetch, examine, and then execute the instructions stored in the main memory of the computer. In microcomputers, the CPU is built on a single chip or integrated circuit called microprocessor. Motherboard. Motherboard is known as mother to all the boards as it contains the printed circuit boards and the other electronic components of the computer are connected to this network. The data is stored in the form of bits in a register. Each bit is transferred from one register to another by the means of a separate wire. This group of 8 wires, which is used as the common way to transfer data between the registers, is known as bus. This network is known as bus network. Functional units. Arithmetic logic unit. Arithmetic logic unit of the CPU is responsible for all the arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division as well. Control unit. The control unit is responsible for controlling the transfer of the data and instructions among the other units of the computer. It is considered as the central nervous system of a computer as it manages and coordinates all the units of a computer. Memory. Memory is again of two types, primary memory and secondary memory. RAM, ROM, CMOS come under primary memory, whereas pen drive, DVD, and etc. come under secondary memory. Input and output units. The unit which is used for entering the data and instructions is known as input devices, and the output devices is the output that we need to display after the completion of the program. Some of the input devices are keyboard, mouse, and etc. Whereas monitor, printer come under some of the output devices. Machines cannot understand the human language. They understand only zeros and ones. As of human beings, machines like computers cannot understand the language we speak. The only thing a computer can understand is zeros and ones. The input we give is received in the forms of only binary according to the ASCII, American Standard Code for Information Interchange. The input what we given is being converted into zeros and ones. Execution in a computer. Let's understand how sum of numbers takes place. First, in the memory location 1, first number is being read, and in the memory location 2, second number is being read. In the memory location 3, ALU performs the summation of these two numbers and saves it in the memory location 1. This is how execution takes place. Every time the instruction enters the control unit, the memory address is accessed and the data is being processed. Assembly language. It has been very difficult for the programmers to write the instructions in zeros and ones. So there is a language that is assembly language which is being introduced for making the communication with the computer much more easier. Assembly language is represented by mnemonics instead of numeric codes or the binary sequences. Assembler is the one which converts this human readable language to the binary language. This is the code for the summation of the two numbers before as we saw. It is represented in the form of mnemonics like something like num1 and r1 which we see now. Compiler. Later on, some of the high-level languages like COBOL, BASIC, Fortran, and C are being introduced. Like the assembler, compiler also converts the high-level language to the machine understandable language. Each high-level language would have its individual compilers. Compilers and the libraries related to the high-level language are downloaded into the memory during their installation. Debugging a C program using CLang compiler in cs50.dev. Open cs50.dev. and create a folder named video in the terminal using mkdir command. Now get into this folder using cd command. Create a file of C extension named add. Now open Now open this file and write a primary code for the summation of two numbers. For the compilation or the running of this program, we need to compile it first. The command what we need to use for the compilation is due to this command, there will be a lot of intermediate files like add.bc, add.i, add.o, and add.s will be creating for the running and the compilation of this program. We can open any of this file using hex editor. .i files are the pre-processed source code files. The pre-process handles things like including header files and expanding macros. .s files consist of the assembly code files. The compiler turns the pre-processed source code into the assembly code. .bc files are the bitcode files. They are intermediate representation used for some of the compilers like LLVM. And executable files link the preprocessed files and the programming files. Now to compile this make add command in this terminal for making it much more executable. /add would run this program. Now let's understand how does the working takes place in the back end of this program. For knowing this, we need to debug this program. For the debugging, we can use the command debug space /add. Here, C, set at least one breakpoint by clicking on the left of the line number. Now let's set this breakpoints. By clicking on the left side of the number, we would set the breakpoints. Now let's again start debug. Here is the debugging terminal, what we get. Enter a number. Now, after we enter the number 1, in let's see, in this left side, there would be variables. Local variables are something which are created inside the block. If we would give outside the block, then it would be a global variable, num1. As I didn't store still any number in the num2, a garbage value is being stored in this num2. Now, this is the continue button and this step over, step into, step out. If we click on continue, the next line would be executed. But still now, this value is being not stored in num2. This is because we have kept the breakpoint in the 8th line. So for the storing of this value, again we need to press on the continue. See here, here the execution had taken place and the 23 value got stored in num2. And for the execution of next one, click on continue again. Here sum is being executed and the value of sum is being stored. The print statement is also being executed.